Hi there, Rachael Kaplan here, creator and host of the podcast, The Healing Feeling Shit Show. And this is the fourth specific video on emotional release or feeling poops. And this one is on shame and worthlessness. They're similar. And we're going to talk a little bit at the end about belonging and not belonging. So, shame. It is generally the deepest of our emotional wounds, and it clusters, it's like lives in this knot of it's shame or worthlessness, meaning like we think there's something wrong with us, we don't think we're enough, or we think we're too much, or we think we're bad, or we're wrong, like there's something somehow off with us. And the main way that we experience that is that, and therefore we aren't loved, and therefore we don't belong. We're not wanted. And this pain is often really hard to access, strangely, because so many of us are living our daily lives flooded with it. Like your inner critic is rooted in shame. It's rooted in a part of you that feels there's something wrong with you and is constantly attacking you. And so even though most of us have a really high backlog or core wound of shame, it's often the most protected, and so you see a lot of defensiveness around it, a lot of reactiveness. If someone criticizes you, let's say a partner or a boss, and you're suddenly saying, well, you're fine, you're probably jumping in that hot and feisty, not only because we're wired to protect ourselves, but because your inner critic and your inner demons are so hard on you that you can't tolerate it from the outside because you're always getting attacked inside. And so you want to be gentle when you're approaching your shame. And you want to feel strong. You want to feel like you're strong enough to have a really painful experience. I think sometimes it feels like burning, like a searing kind of feeling, like as if we're a nerve without enamel or skin exposed. Like just everything can hurt. An example of this in the world is like, let's say you're sitting in a cafe when we used to do that, and someone walks by you and you kind of catch their glance and you suddenly are like, oh, are they looking at me funny? Like, did I do something? Am I ordering weird? Am I talking weird? Am I drinking weird? So it's like everything hurts, you know? Just being is painful because we're just so sure we're doing it wrong. It's so sad, huh? It's like, how do we get to be so hard on ourselves, right? And so you want to approach this part of you that is in that kind of pain with great care and great strength. And on that note, let's talk a little bit about how to do it. It's similar to fear in the sense that it is bifurcated. And I'm not just talking about the way the feeling... Oh, we didn't talk about the element. Well, let me finish one thought. I'm not talking about the way the feeling comes out or expresses, but actually about how we heal it. So shame and worth are, you know, we've done fire with anger, water with sadness, air with fear. What's left? Earth. It's like the ground, the solidity, the sense of enoughness, a sense of stability, of landing in who we are. So earth. So if you imagine that you have really shaky earth beneath you, if you have nothing to stand on, no foundation, it's really hard to build relationships. It's really hard to create work or to offer gifts because we don't have a foundation underneath us. And that's what feeling ashamed and worthless will do to us. It kind of erodes our sense of joy, our sense of participation, our sense of belonging, and our sense of deserving. So it's really a drag. So the main way that it moves elementally is or not elementally, but like emotionally, is that it's going to be a pain that flows, ideally. So like feeling unlovable, feeling doomed to be left, feeling like you're too much and no one will ever stick around, like you're not enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not strong enough, you're not rich enough, you're not whatever enough, all the fucking things that our parents taught us and that our society taught us and all of the isms taught us. So when we access that, it usually really hurts and it burns and we want to cry. And so when you're going into that, you can try writing, you can try playing music, you can try holding yourself. It's all of the things that we do to get the flow of grief and sadness and pain. But then the fun starts when you start to realize that if you ever want to create a life that has solidity, that has foundation, that you need to fucking fight back against that voice and say, no, I'm not going to live my life like that. I'm not going to live my life feeling worthless. I'm not going to live my life listening to what like old white men told me is valuable. I'm not going to judge myself through someone else's eyes. Fuck that. And so what you start to do is you start to fight back. And that's where you access your inner fire. And what's helpful about this is when you've started to have little successes in your healing work, when you've been able to move feelings, when you've been able to tolerate emotional pain, you start to build some confidence that you can handle it. And you want to draw on that. You want to draw on anything that you genuinely feel good about yourself in. Find that kind of sense of like, no, I deserve better, more than this, and you fight. And that's where you go toward anger movements. So like hitting, kicking, swearing, screaming, beating your bed with something, towel, blanket, racket, bat, something, chopping wood, and fighting for your chance to enjoy your life and to belong to life, to feel like you are wanted and realize that you are needed, that we all are needed here. You know, one thing is like all of these videos, every single one, I'm not editing them at all. Not while I film it and not when I put all the stickers on it, because I'm enough, because I know I'm enough, and because I'm a person and I don't expect myself to be perfect, and I stumble on my words sometimes, and that's okay, and I want you to see me as I am. And if I didn't heal from a massive backlog of shame and not enoughness, I wouldn't be willing to put myself out as I am and hopefully be helpful to you. So same things goes for you. We need you. We need you to figure out what you're passionate about and what you're good at and what you had to learn in your life. And we need you to teach us. And to do that, you have to stop being such a perfectionist and start realizing that you're enough as you are, and start participating even more authentically in life and sharing your gifts with us so that we can heal and thrive in the ways that you know how to do. So that's the deal with shame. It burns like hell. It's like a burning poop, like really hard. But once you're in touch with your shame, once you're moving your shame, you are far along. So congratulations, you are well on your way to emotional resilience. And we'll see you next time.
This is the Healing Feeling Shit Show. Are you gonna have that feeling and let it go? There is no other way to feel whole. This is the Healing Feeling Shit Show.